Hello everyone and welcome to Ethiopian Broadcasting Corporation, our special program we have produced in connection with the new Ethiopian year, which is 2017. And before we go into our special program, I would like to say Happy New Year for all Ethiopians who are living in Ethiopia as well overseas. In connection with this grand occasion for all Ethiopians, today I have joined by a big guest, which is a renowned chef in Ethiopia. He is Chef Yohanis. We are going to discuss lots of things together and celebrate this grand occasion or holiday together. But before I move on to direct interview or having time with him, let me say something about my guest. Chef Yohanis Gebreyesus is not just a chef, he is an artist, a scholar, and a storyteller who brings the rich history of Ethiopian cuisine to life. Standing at the intersection of tradition and innovation, Yohanis has dedicated his life to sharing the beauty and the depths of Ethiopian food for the world. Using a unique blend of culinary expertise, fine arts, sociology, and psychology, Yohanis' journey in the culinary world is deeply intertwined with his academic pursuits. After completing his high school diploma at Lycée Gebreyesius, he has moved to different parts of the world and has studied different academics like psychology, fine arts, and food as well. Today, what makes it special is he has received one of the prestigious awards from the United Nations World Tourism Organization by promoting Ethiopia's cuisine to the world. So, by raising this and other things related with tourism and the things he has been used so far by promoting Ethiopia's dish and cuisine to the world, we are going to discuss a lot of things. First of all, I would like to appreciate for your time to have an exclusive interview and stay with me for the special occasion or special program. Before that, I'd like to say Happy New Year for you too as well. Congratulations for receiving that grand award.
Thank you so much for welcoming me on your show. Happy New Year to you too, and Happy New Year to all Ethiopians living in Ethiopia and abroad. I wish you a time of hope, love, and conscious living, I'd say, would be required in our days. As you said, we just received a big award from the United Nations Tourism Organization. I was designated to be the special ambassador for gastronomy in our region. So there has been 4 people identified as champions. One from, it should be a celebration not just for me, but for all Ethiopians and or everyone in the region, where through this designation, it means we have a higher voice to be heard within the field. So for instance, there's going to be the next summit happening in October in Republic Dominican, where we're doing the first Africa and America summit. So the last one, which happened in 26th of July in Zimbabwe, had more than 500 participants from the policymakers in different countries of Africa within tourism department. There was 15 ministers, tourism ministers, culture and tourism ministers from 15 African countries. The UN, so big, not just names, big decision makers are there. So to be heard on that platform means that there's ways to open the industry so that a lot of youngsters can go in the field, hoping to find not just pay, but also, vision and ambition within the field of hospitality. The field of hospitality has barely been tickled, but it's a very fast-growing sector, as we all know, and it requires a lot of talent to make it better.
Yeah. Most people might not understand, like, food can be considered as a tourism, but I understand, like, it is a great potential power to promote one's country's culture, tourism in a different aspect, right? So ahead of time, what is your aspirations? What is your future plan to bring or to introduce Ethiopia's cuisine for the world or in the global stage?
I think there's been a confusion into competing which form of art, whether it's in food or any different type of expression, which one is better. But it really doesn't matter which one is better, because it's a question of perspective to begin with, and what you hold on dear since you're a child, which is completely different from one person to the next. But I think it's important to celebrate the value it brings to our humanity. Food, especially Ethiopian food, when we eat injera around the griddle, gather together where we share what's available. It promotes respect. It promotes, a certain type of unity. Let me understand one. It's the moment you let your guards down and you share a meal in a way that you say, I understand you, So that aspect of that nurtures that humanity is so deeply rooted into how we consume our food, not just the content of it. So within that sense, I think there's a lot of room to promote Ethiopian food to the world, not just because it's Ethiopian, but because it holds something key to our humanity, which is to share, to care, which is something that we are losing more nowadays. So it gives us time to reflect. That's one piece of culture, eating with your hand and making gursha, that we should never forget.
Chef Yohanis, before being named as a Chef Yohanis or becoming an international chef, I think you have passed through different ups and downs. That's true, I hope, because you're an Ethiopian, so you have to compete with different international chefs and so on and so forth. So you have passed through various ups and downs. So there are also a lot of young Ethiopians who are aspiring to become a chef. So from your own experience, what kind of things you're going to share for these young youngsters who are planning or aspiring to become a chef in the future?
I've done quite a few of interviews to know that not every advice is heard, because we tend to judge an advice based on how we see that person. If you see me from a point of he's been privileged in life, then any advice I give you will just pass overhead.
Okay.
I would say it's important to embrace everyone's journey, saying, this is my journey. And in my journey, what makes me happy and how hard am I willing to work to get the pleasure out of the output of it. I would say my advice for this younger generation is to understand that nothing is done in a day. It takes years of dedication and consistency to be able to develop skills until they become habit. And then the habit for it to become your character, meaning the way it expresses who you are. So if you're able to go within that journey, I want to advise any youngster that any field is untapped in Ethiopia, which means there's so much room for innovation, so much room to make it better. But first, to make it better, you have to take time to understand what it's about.
This might be my last question. As I personally, as a journalist who is working in hospitality sector and tourism, and you as a chef who is being named as ambassador for UN, so we can easily communicate each other. So in Ethiopia as well in Africa, we are not unlocking the untapped potential of tourism in Africa as well. I believe like that. We have to do much in a bid to attract more tourists in different sectors, in different aspects, especially in the hospitality sector. So could you please give us your recommendations? What shall be done in a bid to tackle the problems or the things hampering the tourism industry in general? So you can start from Ethiopia's context, or you can tell us from the Africa continent in general.
I'd say my advice is very simple for any context, is to avoid ignorance. It means take the time to learn before you judge, before you think you know better. There is so much within the country that we don't know. In my past recent experience, for instance, we opened a fish restaurant that explored more than 13 types of fish and introduced it to the local taste. But how much nurturing is there into promoting, not just promoting, but preserving and expanding that product? We tend to consume based on our existing habits and what we feel is our identity based on the culture and religion or certain things. But we forget that there's fish that look like salmon and better, and we're importing those products way more expensive. We forget that, the size of Ethiopia is actually much bigger than what's been told to us on maps. From east to west, it goes from France to Romania. So there's a lot of assets happening and actually available in terms of resources. To know about them, it means that you can consume and make your life cheaper. And if your life is cheaper, then you feel more abundance. And if you're not in survival, then you would want to share. The key is in sharing. You can share life and make your life more beautiful. Let's not forget, we don't live for 1,000 years. So while you're here, are you able to enjoy life, to experience life enough so that you can share the best part to the rest? I think that's the question we all need to reflect.
Yeah. One more thing, the point we have been raising before we have taping this interview, like most Africans are traveling to Dubai for a visit. But as a result, we Africans have lots of potentials to be being visited by different countries. So what is the mystery behind this dichotomy?
There's advertising, the value of advertising. We have so much asset that we don't know how to promote. Yeah. Let me give you an example. Even coffee is called coffee Arabica. Let me ask you a good question. If, as an Ethiopian or as an African, if I wanted to go to France and say, I will tell you the best way to consume champagne, would the French listen to me? They would laugh at me, right? But when we export coffee, we have to abide by cupping and pairing done by international standards, telling us how to best consume products that originate from our country. Shouldn't Ethiopians be telling the world on how to consume coffee? But we don't know how to put it out there. So it would be keen to understand first the actual value of it, and second, how to promote, so that we can actually assign the right budget into saying, this aspect, I want to make sure that it portrays the best of me.
Great.
That's what I think.
Right. So finally, we are not trying to make it like hard to, because it's holiday, but we are just giving tips for audiences to grasp some basic information from this renowned chef. Anyway, can I give you a chance for all Ethiopians to wish a happy Ethiopian New Year?
Oh, absolutely. So I said it earlier, but let me say it again. As I said before, Happy New Year 2017 to all Ethiopians living in Ethiopia and abroad. On this new year, I wish you hope, love, and a conscious living so that we can experience and share this world together.
Well, viewers, this concludes a short time that we have spent with renowned chef Yohanis Gebreyesus. In connection with the Ethiopian New Year, we have raised several things, especially things related with the hospitality sector and the tourism industry. So Chef Yohanis has been awarded a prestigious award from the United Nations World Tourism Organization very recently. So we would like to appreciate for that. Thank you very much indeed. So he is trying to promote Ethiopia's cuisine for the rest of the world. I hope I will meet him some other time and they will discuss on this area ahead of time. But this concludes or wrap up our today's special program. Now we are going to test his delicious food in connection with the food he's prepared for us in connection with the Ethiopian New Year. So we are going to celebrate this grand holiday with him, me as well my camera crew. So I would like to say Happy Ethiopian New Year for all Ethiopians who are living around the world. Stay tuned with the rest of Ethiopian Broadcasting Corporation holiday-related programs. Have a nice time. Happy New Year. Goodbye. I am Ugayo Mulena.